Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be making a stamp holder. Now, I use these stamps here, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 5/16 inch stamps all the time, and making a straight line with them is quite difficult, and getting good clean stampings can also be quite difficult. So, I've come up with a small solution. I'm going to take this block of steel, cut square channels into it that the stamps can slide into. I'll tack weld this chunk of steel on here, that way they have a holder that I can put them in, and that they'll be free to slide around, but not so free that they become out of square. I'll drill a hole in here for this chunk of steel rod to go into, and I'll weld the rod to this chunk of 1/2 inch AR400 plate. That'll give me an arm that holds my stamp straight while I mark my work. And for a fence, I'm going to take this little piece of steel and drill a hole here, and it'll be able to pivot right here while the arm stays right here. That way, I can move my stamps to always be square with the fence, and also move the workpiece closer or further from the stamps. So let's get to work. It's going to be a pretty simple project, but I figured I might as well video it for you guys and show you how I get this one done. Well, you might have been able to see in that last clip me struggling with trying to put a center, or use a center punch in this material, this AR400 steel. So let's see how a center drill does it. I might not be able to use this because it might actually be too hard. Oh yeah, that's... Huh. Well, I think the plans have changed. Well, I tried to do things diplomatically. Tried to drill it. Didn't work out. This stuff is pretty tough. It's pretty hard. So I'm just going to go straight to the hot metal glue gun, and I'll weld a nut onto here, and I'll weld this rod over to here. And I'll make sure it's good and straight. I'll make sure the nut is straight too. I'll bring these back when I got them welded up. Don't want to flash any of you by accident. So, because I couldn't drill this and I welded it, my welds look absolutely terrible. Bigger the job, better the job with the hot metal glue gun, I suppose. I did weld a nut onto here and put a stud in it, and I pulled this old Tony trick by having a clone drill this piece of steel, the fence, and he cut the stud short for me. And this is a stud. It's not just a bolt welded onto there. I made it a stud specifically for wear, and just because I could. Now these two did end up a bit further apart for my liking. Whenever I want to stamp something that's quite close, oh, you guys can barely see that. Whenever I stamp something that's fairly close to the center of the rod, it will be quite far away from the fence. Luckily, most of the things that I stamp are quite long, so you know, just little nameplates like this that can have run along there. I might end up making another one of these, maybe a chunk of angle iron with a hole in it that can go up against this and go out further with a slot cut into it so that it can get closer to this. But for now, this should work. I'll be able to pass pieces on this side or this side, or yeah, that's about it. Maybe like this too if I really want to get adventurous. So now all I got to do is drill the hole for this so that it can go onto the rod and mill a bunch of slots into it to hold my stamps, and then put this on there and also finish it, maybe paint it. I might engine turn that. Could send it out to the powder coaters. Definitely gonna have to get everything heat treated. We're almost there. Well, I got the holes drilled, and in between, also I got this hole tapped. In between getting those holes drilled and tapped, I went inside and had dinner on my walk to the toolbox. So now this fits up here exactly how I want it. I can sit there and adjust these two and make them nice and square. I can make parts get real close or far away. I think I'm going to go to the mill next and start cutting all the slots for the punches. And then we'll weld this guy on and get everything else that needs to get done. Well, you guys are going to finally be able to watch me work here. I got you set up on the mill, the drill press and the welder and all that. No real good places to film. But on the mill, I can set you guys up right. I got the 3-inch cutter, 1/4 inch wide. Gonna take a channel out here, and you got my mill clamps and a low profile. That way it clears underneath this stub arbor. This is a homemade stub arbor. So it's not gonna run 100% true, but it'll create a good enough channel for this. So let's get to machining. Well, that is all 3 of those slots done. They are going to require a bit of hand fitting, a bit of filing, but for the most part, these 2 are pretty good. The smallest one is not. A bit tight. But that's easy to fix with a bit of hand filing. I did have a bit of work holding issues on this second slot, and actually the first slot too. Kind of moved around on me. On this last one I put in a brass nut and it worked quite well. So I'll get this, what I need done, deburr it, do a bit of handwork to it, weld on the cap, and I'll bring you guys back. Well, our time together is starting to come to an end. They all float freely in there. The one for the 1/8" stamp was a bit too loose, so I put some weld bead in there and I filed it down. The rest of them were pretty good off of the mill. I did have, again, some issues on the mill, but all in all I got to do is weld this guy onto here, clean it all up, and then I'll be done. Oh yeah, and I got to make a fence. So I'm going to go do that, and then I will show you guys the final product. Again, I'm sorry I'm not showing you more of the actual process. I just don't have very good camera equipment yet. I need to make some, and make some videos on making some. Well, painted and ground and all set up, cleaned up. The only issue I'm having right now with it is the slot for the biggest stamps is very far back there. I won't be able to put stamping or stamp letters very far into a workpiece, but I can work around that. I'm alright with that. The other issue is that many of these stamps are kind of mushroomed on the end so that they don't quite go in. So I had to take them and grind a lot of that off. So let's try it out on this little piece of aluminum. First letter. See, right orientation, yep. Oh wait, I made a mistake. Yeah, see, that's an issue with some of these stamps. Well, we'll make it look old, real vintage. Hidden World Forge 2020. They're a lot straighter, they're not perfect. The H in particular is off. W is too, the rest of them look alright. They seem a bit light. And I think that that's mostly because there's enough wiggle room in here that if your hammer blow isn't perfect, it kind of makes the letters a little bit crooked, but they're a lot better. It'll be a lot easier to stamp stuff, especially in a straight line, and that's probably the straightest stamping I've ever done. A little ratcheting mechanism so that you could move this in very precise and very repeatable increments would also be convenient. This would also be good for use underneath my arbor press. Thank you for watching up until this point. I'm going to be making more Power Hacksaw content soon. I'm waiting on some parts that I need to go forwards with it. If you want to see more, like and subscribe. If you want more regular content, I have an Instagram. That's Hidden World Forge, just like this channel. I post pretty often there, and that's that. Until next time, have a great day.